don't go. Yeah, they don't go for solar. And within the university system, no, I must place the union in proper perspective for people to understand.
Hello and welcome to the program. I am DEJI360. Now, it's been termed as perhaps the biggest fraud in Nigeria. Some have termed it Dasukigate after former President Goodluck Jonathan's National Security Advisor, retired Colonel Sambo Dasuki, who of course is a central character in the scandal. Others simply call it Armsgate. Well, by whatever name you choose to call it, it might turn out to be the biggest heist of public money in Nigeria's history. As it is, things are still unfolding. Sambo Dasuki, the central character in this intriguing drama, is now standing trial in 3 different courts in Nigeria's federal capital, Abuja. Altogether, the charges against him are 47 in these 3 courts. Now, on Monday, December 14th, he was arraigned before Justice Hussein Baba Yusuf of the FCT High Court on a 19-count charge of alleged illegal diversion of about 32 billion naira from the accounts in the office of the National Security Advisor, operated with both the Central Bank of Nigeria and other banks. And on Tuesday, December 15th, he was arraigned before an FCT High Court on a new 22-count criminal charge bordering on alleged diversion of public funds to the tune of 13.6 billion naira. And before this period, he had been charged before Justice Ademola Adeniyi of the Federal High Court in Abuja on a 6-count charge bordering on money laundering, alleged illegal possession of firearms. The total amount involved in that case is $2.1 billion, meant for the procurement of weapons for the military to fight Boko Haram, but allegedly diverted. As you sure know by now, the former National Security Advisor is now not standing trial alone. Standing trial alongside Dasuki, a former Minister of State for Finance, Bashir Yuguda, former Governor of Sokoto State, Atahiru Bafarawa, his son Sagir Atahiru, and a company known as Dalhatu Investment Limited, which the EFCC says was used to divert huge sums of money from the office of the NSA now just before the 2015 general elections. Also charged are Dasuki's finance director, Shuaibu Salisu, a former executive director of the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation, that's NNPC now, Aminu Baba Kusa, as well as his companies, Acacia Holdings Limited and Reliance Referral Hospital Limited. Now, Mr. Dasuki has named some high-profile individuals who benefited from the well, if you want to call it the scandal now, and some of them have actually confirmed collecting money from the NSA's office and have even disclosed what they used the money for. To understand clearly, to understand it clearly, just take a look at this pie chart. We're going to show you that pie chart immediately now, produced by a Nigerian online news portal known as Nige.com. There you have it. It explains who has got what for what, of course, and of course what the monies they got was used for. Now take a look at that chart. If we are going to take it now, let's just go clockwise. You take a look at the top of the chart. You have Raymond Dokbese, who is the owner of AIT and the past chairman of that organization. We're all aware he's actually standing trial now for corruption. He got 2.1 billion naira from the NSA's office and has actually said, well, the money was given to him for a media job he did for the PDP and the former president, Goodluck Jonathan. And at the top also, just right below Dokbesi, you have 90 million given to Dasuki Jr., that's the son of Dasuki, for the procurement of a building in Abuja at the cost of 90 million naira. Then you have PDP as well, which got 600 million naira, it says, was for campaign funding, got it from the National Security Advisor. And then there's Bello Haliru. Bello Haliru, by the way, used to be the chairman of the PDP, and at one time he was actually Minister of Defense. He got 300 million naira. He hasn't actually said what the money was used for. And then there's Bello Sarakin, who got 200 million naira. Mahmoud Aliyu got 100 million naira. He said the 100 million naira was for special prayers. Atahiru Bafara, 100 million naira. And then there's Reliance Referral Hospital Limited, which got 750 million naira. By the way, Reliance Referral Hospital Limited, we understand, is owned by Mahmoud Aliyu. And, of course, that money was used for special prayers, we understand, 750 million. And then you have Acacia Holding Limited, which got 1.45 million naira as well for special prayers. And there is a support re-election in the House of Representatives. That's to support Goodluck Jonathan's re-election. That group now got 380 million naira. Now, Atahiru Bafarawa also got another 4.6 million naira for spiritual purposes. And, of course, Nduka Obayagbena as this day. As a matter of fact, it wasn't recorded as this day. What we have gathered is that the money was actually entered as payment for energy consulting, and Nduka Obayagbena actually got 550 million naira for that, but he's actually come out to say the money was compensation for the Boko Haram bombing of the This Day office now in Abuja, and the one in Kaduna. Of course, that happened about 2 or 3 years ago. And Nduka Obayagbena also got 120 million naira, which he said was compensation for about 12 newspapers who had their papers confiscated by the military in the heat of the Boko Haram bombing campaigns. And then we have another 170 million naira used for the procurement of a duplex. And Tony Aneni, that's the former chairman and chairman of the board of trustees of the PDP, got 260 million naira. Of course, I would say it was for campaign purposes. And we also have Senator Iyorchia Ayu. Well, this money did not go to him directly, but actually went to his company, 345 million naira. And Iyorchia Ayu has actually come out to say, well, the money was paid to him for consultancy services. There you have the figures. Now, Dasuki has He's actually consistently maintained that he got the approval of the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, to access and use the money for what it was used for. Now, former Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, has also issued a statement admitting that her office gave about $322 million of the return the Bacha loot to the office of the NSA for security purposes. She said she did so with the approval of former President Jonathan. She also issued a memo confirming the transaction and showing that the NSA's office was supposed to account to the former president on how the money was used. In other words, like the Roman biblical governor Pontius Pilate, she washed her hands off the money after releasing it. Let's take a break here, and when we come back, I'll have a guest who would help us analyze some of these issues and, of course, help us to make sense of it all. Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on DEJI360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions. All right, welcome back. Joining me now to discuss the Dasukigate arms scandal. Quite tongue-twisting now is Liberos Oshoma, a lawyer and a political analyst. Liberos, thank you very much for coming on the program.
My pleasure.
You saw the pie chart of how the money was distributed. If my producer could come up with that pie chart again, you saw that pie chart, how the money was distributed. Tell me what you think.
We need to first and foremost understand that $2.1 billion, it's about approximately 8 to 9 years budget of a rich Nigerian state. And so people need to understand the magnitude of the money we're talking about, because when you say $2.1 billion, you know, it's just like 2.1. So people really would understand, you know, the magnitude of the amount we're talking about here. For me, I shed tears when I saw all of this revelation. Why? Because this is a country where people can barely feed. This is a country where infrastructure is a major problem, the basic infrastructure. And it's a major problem here. And so what this tells me is that people just sit down, create a problem, and then budget funds for this problem and share the funds.
And what is actually surprising in all of this is that these individuals are actually not denying that they got the money. They're even trying to justify it.
It is because it's like catching a thief red-handed. There's no room for denial. The transactions are, if it were those days where you carry cash, you know, like the financial controller saying he took cash
of $47
million in them. Ghana must go bags to Dasuki's house and all of that. You know, these are not transactions you can deny. The evidence is there. And so the best you can do is to look for excuses to explain it away. But unfortunately, these are not also what you can explain away. Even if you say these monies were paid to you for consultancy, you need to show truly what the job you did. If it was for media coverage,
for instance, said he got $345 million
for consultancy. For what kind of consultancy?
And over what period?
You know, it's vague. We need to see contract with the federal government that actually, you know, your companies were employed for consultancy purpose, and the kind of consultancy that you were to do, and the reports that you turned in. If it was for media, there should be a contract.
Quite surprising. Dr. C got $2.1 billion.
And then also, if these monies were actually for jobs, that's what we call withholding tax in our tax system. There is nowhere in all of this where it was shown that tax were deducted from this money that were paid. What it shows is
if they were actually legal
payment. So it's like, look, you know, we have Boko Haram. I can believe now that this Boko Haram was a creation of the government, because if you truly believe that, you know, this is a monster that is killing your people and you want to solve that problem, and then the budget for it, you share it. Even after the election, you are still sharing money, and then people are dying in droves. And so when you look at all the subheads, Uduka Baigbona saying he was paid compensation for
the bombing of this day office in Abuja.
Bombing of this day's office. The Mandala Church bombing and some other bombings that took place in Kano, they were public donations. We all knew, everybody knew when even the former CBN governor donated 100 million naira to Kano state government. These were public donations. So if it was a compensation, it should have been made public.
And the question is the federal government an insurance company?
Exactly. And so we'll get there. And so if this was compensation from the federal government, how many of such people did federal government compensated? How many of the soldiers that died in the war front in this fight against insurgency, how many of their families were compensated? The Chibok girls, their families, how many of them were compensated? And so basically it's difficult to begin to explain all of this, and it's like trying to hide behind one finger. And I laugh when I hear the defenses that is coming up from the mouth of these people, quote and unquote, respected Nigerians, you know, and then somebody saying them, because it's always easy for us to say, I was consulting for government. You see, what this has shown Nigeria is that government, like we knew that government was the biggest spender, but we did not know the magnitude. Of the rot in government. That is why people will kill to go into government. That is why people would do anything just to remain in power. And then also quickly, you find out that it is actually not those at the helm of affairs, but those around the corridors of power who would do anything to ensure that, you know, the status quo is maintained. Now we need to, DG, begin to beam searchlight on funds for political parties.
I want you to react to, you know, that statement now credited to the former Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Okonjo-Iweala. Well, I mean, you're a lawyer. Look at her defenses. She said she gave the money to Dasuki's office after getting approval from the president, and that she asked Dasuki to account to the president.
Two things here. For me, that is the most stupid and irresponsible defense from a coordinating minister of the economy. And that she's not versed in matters of security. And so the management and process of repayment should be monitored by the presidency directly. Then what was her job? What was she being paid for as coordinating minister of the economy? Was the president an expert in security matters? If you are the coordinating minister of the economy, and then you now say because you're giving out a loan which has to do with the economy, this is refunded loot. And you sign it
specifically supposed to be used for something.
You're signing it away as a coordinating minister. It's like the prime minister. You're signing it away and you say, Mr. President, you know I'm not versed in security matters, and so repayment and proper utilization. Then what were you coordinating in the economy? And you know, so for me that letter was, in fact, was the most irresponsible defense I have ever seen. And in all of this, let's not shy away from the fact, because all the bucks stop at the table of Mr. President. Everybody now is saying we got approval for this from Mr. President. Mr. President instructed the way we should do the distribution. There is need for us not to shy away from the fact, but to invite the former president to come answer to some of these allegations.
That would be a tough call, wouldn't it?
Look, in this climate, it will be a tough call, because here we play politics with sentiment. But what is at stake here is our collective funds, our common wealth. And some people just sign them away. And the president,
of course, the former president is on record to have said he never approved anything.
Let him come and put that in writing, that he never gave approval for all of these things. And if he did give, let them show him where he approved the disbursement of this fund. Whether he gave approval or not is vicariously liable, because he was the president. As at that time, also in needs, there was responsibility. The responsibility was on him to ensure that these funds, if they were meant for arms, they were properly utilized. You had a minister for defense. You should be able to call the minister for defense. I
was just going to ask you,
and call your national security advisor.
It's quite surprising that the office of the Minister of Defense was completely sidelined on this issue. I mean, huge sum of money sent to the office of the National Security Advisor. This is the first time I would be hearing the National Security Advisor controlling such a huge financial war chest, a huge budget. And then we're also not talking about, I remember back then, the president actually requested the National Assembly to approve the collection of a $1 billion loan from a $1 billion loan to buy equipment for the security forces, and nobody's talking about that.
DG, we're talking about misappropriating or sharing 2.1 billion. So your answer, what you seek, is already included in this 2.1 billion. We took a loan for 1.1 billion naira. We added another 1.1 billion. And these men, our leaders, supposed leaders, who we presume were leaders, but we didn't know were rulers, sat down and distributed this money amongst themselves.
Quite surprising.
So what it means is that we are indebted to other nations for the funds used by some, not up to 20 persons in Nigeria, for their personal gain. And so Nigeria, the federal government, will now have to be paying back loan collected by individuals.
Well, they didn't collect the money as loans anyway.
That's what I'm saying.
Money shared freely.
Yes, loan collected by Nigeria and spent by individuals for personal gain.
And because we're repaying that loan.
We definitely will pay with interest. And so that is why no stone should be left unturned, including invitation extended to the former president. We just cannot say, oh, look, this is witch hunting. There's nothing about witch hunting here. He was the president. There's need for us to account for what happened, what transpired during his tenure. Some person has said, if you invite him, you must invite others. We are not investigating armed purchase during Obasanjo or during Yaradua. We are investigating armed purchase during the tenure of President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. And so if all the people that have been called to question are saying, we got approval from our boss, there's need for the boss to say, oh, I gave that approval or I didn't give approval. And if he gave approval, under what subhead did he give those approval? Under what powers did he give this approval? Were they budgeted for? If they were not budgeted for, you know, why give approval for what was not budgeted for? And then let him face the music, sentiment apart, so that we will know, Nigerians will begin to learn.
Do you think we'll be able to recover this huge amount of money?
It's difficult. It's difficult for us to recover that huge amount of money. Well, basically, the ones that have been invested in properties, you just dispose of these properties and recover what you can recover. Because even if you want to sell a property for 2 billion naira now, anybody that has 2 billion naira to buy a property now will not want to put that money, you know, in the public, because everybody's being careful. It will be difficult, but we would be able to recover something. But that is why I'm not of the view that, oh, let's just do plea bargain, exactly, collect money from them and let them go. No, because the moment you do that, the next set of people would come and steal more, knowing fully well that they will do plea bargain. There's need for us to send some persons to prison. Use them as examples so that the ones there now will know that, look, a day of reckoning will come.
You're a lawyer. How difficult do you think it will be to prosecute this case? You have cases in 3 courts now. The courts must be overwhelmed. How difficult?
The problem with our legal system here, first and foremost with investigations, I saw the 47 count charge now in three matters, and I would have expected, you know, just don't go for the entire 47. Establish the most serious of them, that you know you have all facts. The documents speaks for itself, like we say, recipsa, and just go for those ones and ensure that, you know, others you can take time to prove them. Look at what happened in Ibori's case. 5 count charge, prove 2, and, you know, let him go and be cooling off, you know, for those ones. Because if you attempt to want to
go the whole hog and cover everything,
it's not your case that is the only case in that court. There are so many other cases, except you tell the judge, please hold on, you know, conclude my case before you handle other cases. Nobody wants to wait. And so the judge also, they write in longhand, and he would want to go through all the documents standard. So the simpler you make it for the judge, the better for the matter. But otherwise, and then also for our memories, if this matters drag on for too long, then before you know it, we'll forget. And mind you, this is just arm purchase. We're not talking about, you know, all other procurement that happened, you know, during the lifetime of that administration. And so the tendency for memories to fail would be there. That's why we say justice delay is justice
And what
denied.
do you make of, because most Nigerians have been saying it, because of what we have seen in the past, they've been saying, look, they have no confidence in the judiciary to prosecute this to a logical conclusion, that what you're going to say is, well, these guys are going to get bail, the case will continue to get dragged in court until everybody gets tired.
It basically has nothing to do with the judge. It has a little to do with the judge, because they say when a judge sits on trial, the judge is on trial. But now the new administration of criminal justice has streamlined, you know, all of this. I am still waiting for the Supreme Court to reverse itself on the stay of proceedings granted to the Senate President, because Section 309 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act in Nigeria, you know, prescribes, forbids stay of proceedings now in criminal matters until, you know, you conclude the entire gamut of the case. And so with that, if the prosecution and the defense are serious, I think the judge, you know, it will be easier for the judge. But the situation where we'll begin to blame the judges in cases where the defense will throw in all kinds of frivolous applications and then the judge allows them. That's where you now say, oh, look, judiciary is at fault here. But when you bring in frivolous application and the judge tells you, no, this I can't take now, you have a right to take all of them together and let me rule on them once. And so we proceed with the matter. Or these applications are frivolous. We need to go into the merit of this case. These ones, even if I grant or I don't grant this application, it will not substantially affect the outcome or otherwise of the matter. And so let's proceed. If you don't want to proceed, I will overrule you and allow the prosecution to proceed. You would not want to put the life of your client on the line in such cases.
Well, let's just wait and see how this goes, and let's hope we're able to recover a substantial part of this money.
I pray truly, because these funds are funds that would have been used to put food on the table of the average Nigerian, to build good roads.
And lives have been lost.
Do you know the number of cars, the number of cars that, you know, get spoiled on the bad state of our road? You know the number of people that die daily.
And
who
the number of schools we
them?
need in this country.
Number of schools, the number of children that are hawking on the streets right now. And then some people are saying
the money would have made a lot of difference.
It would have made a lot of difference.
A lot of difference, no doubt at all. Well, thank you very much, Liberal Osushoma, for coming on the program. Thank you very much for your contributions.
My pleasure, always, DJ.
Well, we'll take another break now, and when we come back, it appears the people of Rivers State may have to be preparing for another governorship election. We'll tell you why. Stay with us. Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on DEJI360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ, if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.